Hello, welcome to Learning to Drum. I'm your host, Adam Tevlin. We're in week 21, episode 18. And I have to remind this from time to time. I haven't done it in a little bit, but if this is your first time visiting us, please go back to episode 1 and start from there. You might know some things, you might not. But the bottom line is, it is a continual process that we're going through here on this program on Learning to Drum. And without further ado, let's talk about what we did last week. We learned the paradiddle. And hopefully you folks are up to at least 60 beats per minute. And making sure you have the good form with the accent. And of course the low free strokes in between. So let's see how that sounds. You can play it with me. And if you don't have them with you, get your sticks and pads ready so we can play it together. And we'll go to 60 beats per minute. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, and ready, and play, and okay, no big deal. You don't necessarily have to go that big of a contrast in your accent, but I try to because I like to have that contrast if I need to channel it. Usually I give a nice accent, but everything in between is like a medium free stroke on the medium level, right? 6 inches maybe. Okay, so once I get into that flow of the rudiment like we talked about last week, I'll soften the accent. But for right now, the reason why we're trying to establish that gelatin mold, that shape, okay? And we want to make sure we retain the shape, but yet we can fluctuate, being that the mold is off of us now, okay? So developing good muscle memory with this rudiment is not going to be the easiest thing, but once you get there, then it starts to become a little bit more natural. So at 60 beats per minute was a good tempo to get at. Let's play that again together. Here we go. 1 and a 2 and a paradiddle play and right. Okay, let's try 70. If you thought that was too easy, let's try 70. Okay, and this is the idea, and this is why I said last week it's really, really nice to play with the metronome with these paradiddles so you can really line everything up. Here we go. 1 and a 2 and a paradiddle play and a... Okay, good. All right, so how did that feel? A little bit awkward? Spend some more time with it. You don't want to just spend the 15 seconds with me on doing this. You want to make sure that you're spending a good couple of minutes, 2 to 3, however long you want really actually, but the more time you spend with it, the more muscle memory you're going to develop. Okay, so let's move on to 80. If you can hang. If you can't, that's okay, but let's try. Here we go. 1 and a 2 and a ready and a go and a. Okay, so even if it's not perfect at the beginning, as you're playing with the metronome, line yourself up. You saw me have just a little bit of a premature start on that time around, okay? So just so you know, and I'm glad and happy to make mistakes in front of you so that way you can learn from me as well. The point is that, you want to develop that muscle memory and take it at your pace. You know, eventually you're going to get the flow and you're going to, etc. Okay? And as a matter of fact, there's a piece that I play in the St. Louis Philharmonic, which is an orchestra. Almost every year during our Holiday Pops concert, we always play Polar Express. It will have the links to the credits and all that so you can see who that's by and everything. But You know, on the train emulation, I have, I don't know how many measures, 80, 100 measures of just 16th notes. And I'll just sit there and, but I wouldn't put any accent. I would just put a little weight on every beat, just to kind of have that forward momentum motion type thing happening, you know, but I'm a really bad singer, so anyway, but that was fun. But I couldn't do that unless if I worked with a metronome or consistently worked on paradiddles or both, right? You got to. By all means, take your time, but realize that, hey, maybe I can get to this goal by next week or the next week after that. You know, that's just something that you can set for yourself. But I say 85 is somewhere you can start from as far as a goal here on this program. Don't get frustrated. It's okay. That's how things are sometimes, you know. It takes a little longer to learn things. At least for me it was. Maybe for you it's easy peasy, got it, okay? And we also talked about last week is the 16th note warm-up, and I'm going to let you go on that, and hopefully you're able to play it, and at least at 60, 65, but we're trying for 75 last week, right? So hopefully you're there at this point. If not, that's okay. Take it at your pace, but get very, very comfortable with that, so that way when it comes up to the next solo that we're going to play, which is solo number 3, that's going to be a little bit easier to execute because of this 16th note warm-up. Now, speaking of which, study number 8. Again, because of the 16th note warm-up, we're going to be able to play this easier. Let's go ahead and turn to page 22, and right there up at the top, we have a little note says that please see 16th note warm-up as the sticking method has changed from alternate to natural sticking. So we're going to apply the natural sticking method here to study number 8. We're going to go slow. Instead of 60, we'll do 65. That's okay with you. Remember the sticking, I'll repeat each one once each, so that way you get the right sticking with me. Here we go for number 1. 1 and a 2 and a ready, number 1 and a. Okay, not too big of a deal because we've read that rhythm previously in that 16 note warm-up. That is that one rhythmical cell, the first one. Okay, let's go to number 2, and that's the second rhythmical cell there in 16 note warm-up. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, okay. 2 and a, here we go, and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Okay, a little tricky on getting on that left hand lead. That's okay. You know, if you can't do it that way, just stop and then start with the left. No big deal, because I know these rhythms are going to get a little bit harder as we go on. All right, number 3, we can see here that we have 1 and a 2 en, 3 and a 4 en. And that is the combination of both of those rhythmical cells in number 1 and number 2, back to back. It's a very popular rhythm that I've seen in music. Here we go. 1 and a 2 and a ready and a go and a 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and. Okay? Not too big of a deal. And here we go in number 4, where we have the third rhythmical cell in the 16th note warm-up. Watch the transition on the repeat to the left. You're going to have 2 lefts in a row. That's okay if you can't do it. Here we go. And 4E, a 1E, a 2E, a 3E, a 4E, a 1E, a 2E, a 3E, a 4E, a 1E, a 2E, a 3E, a 4E. Okay, cool. All right, so that's a little difficult on the transition. That's okay. By the way, if you've ever wondered why I keep looking over here into this direction, is I'm seeing myself in my monitor, seeing if I'm positioned correctly, if my sticks are at the correct height, and making sure I'm checking myself while I'm demonstrating this stuff in front of you. And that's one thing I don't believe, encouraged you to do so as of yet, which is, either record yourself practicing or in front of a mirror practice. And that way you're actually able to see yourself in real time if you wanted to, if you had a monitor like myself, or if you wanted to go back and watch it, and then you can see yourself in the past tense, you know. But you get to pick out those maybe bad habits that you normally would not see just practicing on your own as is. So anytime you see me looking over there, there's no audience or anything. It's me making sure that I'm doing the right thing. So let's go to number 5. We have a combination of these rhythmical cells. If you notice in beat 3, you have 2 eighth notes, and it's played as right-left instead of right-right, which is counteractive to natural sticking, I guess. So here's my deal. Usually, if I have consecutive eighth notes within the same beat or rhythmical cell, I'll go back to alternate sticking, which to me, and this is what I usually do, if I have consecutive eighth notes, whether if it's in the same beat or 2 beats in a row, I will stick those as I would with natural sticking with eighth notes, which would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So natural sticking is, if I were to play quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, which is somewhat like alternate sticking. But when you get to eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, which is also like, get it, alternate sticking. And then when you get to the 16th notes, that's where it starts to take shape. So really, I would not stick this as 1E and 2 and a 3 and 4E and a. Now, maybe in orchestra I would, or concert band I would for consistency. But here, I personally, when I'm sight reading, I might just alternate that. It's just how I play. So you can have your choice. I prefer to go right-left. It's up to you. But let's go ahead and try number 5. There. Here we go. 1 and a 2 and a ready and a go E and a 1E and 2 and a 3 and 4E and a 1E and 2 and a 3 and 4E and a 1E and 2 and a 3 and 4E and a 1E and 2 and a 3 and. Okay. Yeah, a little tricky there on the left-hand lead, leading from a left to another left. So again, if you can't do that, that's okay. It's really, it's a good exercise to do for yourself to try to, you know, jump from a left on a 16th note value down to the next downbeat and the next measure on a left. And because you will be doing that in stick control if you'd ever get a hold of that book and work through it. But it's just a good exercise to do. But I mean, don't let yourself down. I mean, it's not a make or break deal type of thing. You can stop the exercise, start it with the left hand, and it still would be awkward, and it's still a good exercise to do, leading with the left if you're right-handed especially. So anyway, okay, number 6, let's do that one. Here we go for another right-left on those 2 eighth notes at beat 1, 2, and a here we go, and right, left, right, 3E and a 4E and 1 and 2 and a 3E and a 4E and 1 and 2 and a 3E and a 4E and 1 and 2 and a 3E and a 4E and. Good. Okay, let's try number 7. And 1E and 2E, 3 and 4E and 1E and 2E, 3 and 4E and. Okay? All right, here we go. 2, 1, and go. And. Not too bad. Okay, so now we have the last one, 1E, 2 and 3E and 4 and 1E, 2 and 3E and 4 and notice I'm not saying the silent ands in, like, let's see, beat 1 here in number 8, or the silent E on beat 2. You know, it's just I'm now used to counting that way. For instance, if I were new at it, I had to go 1E and 2E and 3E and okay, you get what I'm saying? So the point is that, you know, if you can't get to that point to where I'm counting like I am now, you want to go ahead and slow it down and make sure you can, okay? So number 8, if you can hang with me, 2 and a ready and a go and. It's a little difficult there on the left hand, but that's okay. That's what it's for, is to kind of challenge you. And I said earlier last week that, I play traditional and matched, and a lot of times I'm playing my rudiments traditionally, but this program actually has given me a great opportunity to go back through these rudiments in a matched fashion. I'm not saying I don't practice the match grip. I'm just saying that I spend more of my time on the traditional grip rather than the matched. And that's just me, and that's how I play. But digest this, take it slow, really understand how to count these rhythms. And if there's anything that you're having difficulty with, think about that problem spot that we were talking to. What if you had a difficult time on number 8 going from beat 1 to beat 2? Or the last beat of that second measure of number 8, trying to repeat, doubling up on the left. Of 4 being on the left and the downbeat of 1 on that repeat being on the left. If you have trouble with that, take just that spot. So I go 4 and 1 E. Okay, so I would do whatever I can to get that. And I might mess up or whatever, but that would be a problem spot to work on if you had trouble going to the repeat leading with the left. So anyway, we reviewed the paradiddle. I'm letting you folks do the 16th note warm-up on your own, and hopefully you're cruising at 75 and getting above that. We're going to be playing solo number 3, and now this stuff here that we're playing at 65. So really keep working at those things. Keep working at the flams, the flam tap, single, double stroke roll, accent exercise in one hand, all those things. And so that way you're not surprised when you have to play stuff like that. Okay, so that's it for this week. That's all the time I have. And thank you so much for joining me this week. And next week we'll continue on to study number 9. Take a look at it if you want. I'm your host, Adam Tevlin on Learning to Drum. Thanks so much again for joining me. We'll see you next week.